All right, as promised, I'm going to post a video a little earlier this week. We have our first story as a rough draft due in the upcoming week. So you'll see this will be posted. It's Friday afternoon or / evening. The short story prompt is there. The platform for the workshop forum is there as well. And this video, hopefully take a second or two to watch it. Oh God, again, hopefully this should be on the shorter side. Just a couple of quick things I want to talk about. Also, you might note I'm in a different venue today. It's my father's 80th birthday was yesterday, so I'm in his study. I went down to visit, and so yeah, he's an old man, loves trains. So anyway, hopefully that's not distracting. I find it distracting. I'm surrounded. I'm like in a train yard. Anyways, so just real quick, short story prompt. I try to keep it somewhat vague for this first assignment. I know some of you might be coming into this class with ideas of stories you might already want to tell. For those of you who don't, put a pin in it. I'll come back to that. It is addressed at the end of the prompt. So the prompt might be on the long side, but I'm trying to make everything super clear, especially with an online class. I don't get this much time to explain things. So to explain things, as it says on this prompt here, begin with a character. I think that's really essential. I also like to think I might have stolen this from one of our writers this semester, but the idea of a good story, a good short story, the structure of it is almost the same as a good sentence. And I know they're not teaching grammar a lot, but hopefully we remember that a sentence has a subject, a verb, and a predicate. A person, place, or thing does or is something, right? And so a good story is like that. You have a character with a problem, often called a conflict, some issue, some new thing they're struggling with. And then that, instead of a predicate, that leads to a resolution. So this is a different problem. This is a problem that is new to this character. It's a problem, hopefully, that makes sense for this character. It's a problem that will make this character struggle, will make this character undergo some kind of new thing in their life. And when that is over, that character they should either actually be different, learn something new about themselves, or reveal something new to us that maybe they didn't even know was already there, or that we didn't know was already there. So this sort of basic structure you'll see through all the stories we'll be reading, and it's a good way to approach it. So that's basically what I'm explaining in this first set of paragraphs. Like, what are they trying to accomplish? What do they want to do? Make sure they can't do it. I would just want to back up to that first paragraph. When it says 8 to 25 pages, that's what I'm looking for in the final draft of the portfolio at the end of the semester. Less than 8 pages, it's really hard to have a character that we get to know, go through something new, struggle, and then come out on the other side seeming different somehow. It really is. Especially, we want to focus on scenes. Don't tell us, show us these things happening. Really describe the moment. Get as many of the 5 senses into those moments as possible. Like, make it happen. 25 pages, much longer than that. These days, literary journals probably will not publish them, never mind even read them. So, if you're getting long-winded, if you're one of those, very verbose writers, and you're getting pages piling up, you might want to start thinking about what could be trimmed, how to streamline it. Maybe there's some details that aren't needed. Maybe there's a scene that's extraneous or unnecessary. So, I don't know. Some writers are going to be on the other side wondering how they're getting to 8. Some writers are thinking, well, I already wrote 30 pages. So that's a page range that is pretty much industry standard these days if you're trying to get published. On the short side is better, frankly. So again, a problem, an issue. There are lots of great ideas in the readings that we've already read and the upcoming readings too. Again, you don't have to have this thing polished and ready to go. All good writing is rewriting. Anyone who says otherwise is either like a hack or they're lying to you. Jack Kerouac famously wrote On the Road in one long stream of one long writing session that lasted days of amphetamine-fueled power, but he revised it. We have the actual original draft. He used a scroll to type on his typewriter and didn't have to stop to change papers, but that scroll is not what you buy in the bookstore today. All good writing is rewriting. So just get some kind of a story draft put together. It's not due to start the week. I'm giving this to you early so you have extra time over the weekend to start working on it. I would like to see these rough drafts posted sometime toward the end of next week, maybe even a week from today. Friday sounds good to me. And then giving feedback on your peer posts is the next thing I want to talk about after I'm done talking about this prompt, and then that'll be it. So again, If you have your own approach to writing, it says in this final paragraph on the prompt, go ahead and do that. I just do want to make sure that we are focusing on, there should only be one protagonist, main character. The protagonist is always going to be the person who grows or changes. That doesn't mean they're the good guy. It could be a very bad person. And the antagonist is always going to be the person who forces that change, who enhances that struggle, who brings that conflict to bear. I say person, it could be some kind of a thing. It often is going to be two main focal characters, and we'll see that in the short stories we'll be reading as the semester progresses. So just think about that. Again, even if you don't write it that way, I just want to see a rough draft. I want to see you try, and hopefully we'll keep working on these pieces as the semester goes on, and they'll all look really nice, or at least much better in the final portfolio at the end. If you're really struggling for an idea for a character or a situation, I mean, literally there are some really great tools online. You could ask ChatGPT. Oh my goodness. You could ask ChatGPT for a suggestion. You can ask also Google just to give you a prompt. You could just Google, give me short story prompts, and they'll give you some ideas. Hopefully between those two tools, you can come up with an idea for a story. I highly recommend you do not ask ChatGPT to just write you the story. It can write a flawless, grammatically flawless story that seems to have a beginning, middle, and end, but it doesn't really know how to write detailed scenes that include sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures and temperatures, the five senses that we'd like to see and feel so we know we're immersed in the moment. It doesn't really understand how to write tension or suspense. It also doesn't seem to even understand human interaction sometimes. A student gave me a story where there was this little girl hanging out with this old lady, older woman, and I was like, where's this kid's parents? So write the story yourself. Use those tools to give you ideas if you need them. Otherwise, again, just do your best. You can always hit me up if you're really, really stuck. We can talk it through. We can maybe even do a Zoom meeting if we feel like we want to or have to. And that's it for the prompt. So as far as where to post it and what to do with it after that, you'll see under week 3 a workshop forum with some detailed descriptions. The first thing you need to do is post your rough draft. Well, as far as you engaging in it, by the end of next week, you should post a rough draft. I do want you to post a Word document. It'll be easier for your peers to read and use it that way. If you want to use Google Docs, it's fine. Just download it as a .docx, whatever. I would, again, you want to put it on your device, download it, put it in the downloads file, or save it into a document file somewhere on your actual computer. That way you can upload it in a way that everyone will be able to access it. Do not post a link. Don't say, I know how to do it a better way. Please do it that way. It'll ensure that everyone will definitely be able to access our files. And then from there, I'm just asking you to read it carefully, make some notes as you go. Again, if you've got the Word doc, you can save a different version of it yourself and put notes in the margins if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to do that, you can do that. That's easier for you, or just use a notebook. But at the end of the day, you should be posting at least 2 comments for each story in the class, other than your own, obviously, right? At least one thing you think was working really well, and at least one thing you think could be done better. Not that there was nothing wrong with the story. Don't say, oh, I thought there was nothing wrong with this story. I don't see any way to improve this story. But something could be a little better. Even if it's just questions about something, you wanted to know more about a character, what they look like, what their motivations are. Maybe there's a scene where you wanted to have some smells included. What did it sound like in this particular space? Anything like that. Some little place to improve the story. Maybe you weren't clear what the conflict was. Maybe a bunch of stuff happened and you weren't sure that the character actually had one clear problem to deal with. And it should be one clear protagonist, one clear problem. Short stories don't have the space for much more than that. So maybe you feel like there's too much going on. Any little comment like that, something to make the writer feel like they've got something to do, right? Also, before you post that, think, what would I do with this comment? Could I actually do anything with this comment? Add more detail is not very helpful. Where do you want more detail? So try to be specific, try to be helpful. This is really important for your growth as a writer because it's easier to see how someone else's story could be improved than it is to see our own stories, areas for improvement. However, the more you do this, looking at other people's works in progress, the easier it will be for you to, as one of my old professors said, sharpen your editorial eye and allow you to see where your own work can be improved. So it's just, again, a skill called revision. It needs practice. So practice that, practice that, practice that. Please take it seriously. And maybe try to have fun with it. It's story time, right? So that's pretty much it. Other than that, as always, contact me with any questions you may have. and try to get writing. And I'll talk to you again soon.